Wealthy black woman mistaken for maid at luxury resort. Guests left speechless. Welcome to the No Justice Nation. Let's dive into the new amazing story. It was a bright, golden morning in the Caribbean. The sun glistened over the waves like it had been painted by the hands of heaven. A soft breeze kissed the palms lining the coast, swaying gently, almost as if nature itself was welcoming someone special. And indeed, someone special had arrived. Her name? Jordan Ellis, a name known in circles of wealth, tech innovation, and philanthropy. At 36 years old, Jordan was the founder and CEO of a billion-dollar clean energy firm that had revolutionized access to affordable solar panels for underserved communities, starting with her own in South Central L.A. Jordan wasn't just rich. She was wealthy, powerful. She was the type of woman who walked into rooms and changed conversations. Yet today, as her feet touched the marble floors of the five-star Bella Vista Luxe Resort, she wasn't greeted with awe or admiration. She wasn't seen as a power player or entrepreneur. She was seen as the help. Jordan was dressed casually but elegantly. Linen pants, sandals, and a cream blouse. Her locks were tied up into a regal bun, and a single gold bracelet shimmered on her wrist. She smiled warmly at the concierge, offering her reservation details. But the woman behind the desk frowned. "I'm sorry, but this line is for guests," the concierge said, eyes darting briefly toward the entrance as if scanning for someone else, someone more appropriate. Jordan blinked. "I am a guest. Reservation under Jordan Ellis. Penthouse suite." The woman's smile strained. "Oh, I see. One moment." Before Jordan could process what was happening, another guest in line behind her, a white woman with a designer hat and oversized sunglasses, snapped, "Excuse me, but the maid is supposed to enter through the service entrance. If you're not checking in, can you please move?" Jordan turned, stunned. "Ma'am, You don't have to explain," the woman scoffed. "Just ask your manager where you're supposed to be." It wasn't the first time Jordan had been mistaken for staff at luxury establishments. But she had never been this disrespected, not while paying tens of thousands of dollars for a weekend getaway. The concierge, clearly flustered now, stammered, "I'll just verify your reservation quickly, Miss Ellis." Jordan said nothing. She stood tall, silent, her eyes cutting sharper than any words. Minutes later, the general manager came rushing from the back, an older white man in a navy suit. "Ms. Ellis, so sorry for the confusion. Your suite is ready and our team will escort you immediately. Complimentary champagne is being sent up." Suddenly the tone had changed. The woman behind Jordan blinked, mouth agape. The concierge's jaw dropped. And Jordan? She just smiled. Not a smile of politeness. A smile of quiet power. But that was only the beginning of what would unfold at Bella Vista Luxe. Because by the end of the weekend, every single guest and every employee would come to know the name Jordan Ellis not just as a woman of wealth, but as a woman of justice. And it all started with one assumption. Jordan stepped into her suite, the Celestial, an expansive penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows, a private infinity pool, and views that could make even a billionaire's heart skip. But she wasn't here for the views. Not anymore. Her assistant, Camila, arrived shortly after with her luggage. Camila was Latina, fiercely loyal and deeply protective. The moment she heard what had happened to check-in, she slammed her laptop bag on the marble countertop. "They what?" Jordan raised a hand. "It's fine. I'm used to this." "No," Camila said, pacing. "You shouldn't be." Jordan sighed. She had learned long ago that in some people's eyes, no amount of success, education, or money could scrub the color off her skin. In boardrooms, she was a disruptor. In ballrooms, a guest of honor. But in luxury hotels, she was invisible or worse, a stereotype. But something was different this time. This time, Jordan wasn't going to let it slide. As she unpacked her things and changed into a flowing white sundress, the buzz around the resort had already begun. Whispers, rumors, suspicion. "Did you see that woman who checked into the penthouse? I heard she got into it with the concierge. Is she like a rapper's girlfriend or something? Maybe she's the maid for the suite. That's probably it. By dinner, The assumptions had morphed into insults. Jordan had made a reservation at La Marina, the resort's fine dining restaurant. As she and Camila walked in, heads turned. Waitstaff whispered. One of the hostesses discreetly spoke into her headset. A few couples at tables stiffened. The maitre d', a Frenchman named Jacques, approached them, wearing a forced smile. "I believe there's been a mistake," he said. "This evening's dress code requires formal attire." Jordan blinked. "Is this not a formal gown?" Jacques hesitated. "It's just that this is an exclusive service, madam. Only our penthouse guests or VIPs can dine here." Camila leaned in. "She is a penthouse guest. Check your list." Jacques pulled out a tablet, swiping nervously. His eyes widened. "Oh, forgive me, Miss Ellis. Of course, right this way." As they were escorted to their table, the table of rich tourists who had been murmuring stopped talking. One woman bit her lip. Another nudged her husband. It was happening again. Discomfort, guilt, shock, but also disbelief. How could a black woman, dressed simply, quietly powerful, command so much presence in a place that was built to exclude people like her? Jordan didn't raise her voice. She didn't cause a scene. She didn't have to. She ordered the most expensive bottle of wine, paid for the meal with a black titanium card, tipped 50%, and walked out like she owned the building, because in that moment she did. The next morning, Jordan sat poolside with a smoothie in one hand and her phone in the other. Emails, contracts, and partnership pitches waited, but her mind wasn't on business. It was on justice. She called Camila. "I want a list of every staff member who's been written up for discrimination at this resort. Find out what the HR policies are and pull their ownership structure." Camila nodded, already on it. Unbeknownst to the staff, Jordan was not just a guest. She was scouting this location for a future investment. Bella Vista Lux had been struggling financially, and Jordan's firm had been in talks to quietly acquire a controlling stake. Now it was personal. Later that afternoon, as she walked past the spa toward the private beach, a housekeeper, an older black woman named Monique, stopped and stared. "Excuse me," she said gently. "I just wanted to say thank you." Jordan paused. Monique continued. "I saw what happened yesterday. They've treated me like that for years. Like I don't matter. Like I'm invisible. But watching you, standing tall, it meant something." Jordan smiled. "We don't have to stay invisible. Not anymore." That evening, there was a charity gala being held on the resort's rooftop garden. The guests were powerful, wealthy, and mostly white. Champagne flowed. Conversations bloomed with privilege. And when Jordan walked in, wearing a black velvet gown and diamond earrings that glinted like starlight, every head turned, some in confusion, some in admiration, some in fear. Then came the moment. The resort's general manager, the same man who had stumbled over himself apologizing the day before, stepped up to the microphone to welcome the evening's attendees. "We are pleased to host this prestigious charity event. Tonight, we raise funds for ocean conservation, and we are honored to welcome a very special guest, a woman whose work in clean energy has changed lives across the globe. Please welcome Ms. Jordan Ellis." Gasps, stares, and silence. Jordan stepped up, smiled graciously, and took the mic. "I want to thank you all for the warm welcome," she began. "But I want to take a moment to address something else, something not on the program tonight." She paused, eyes sweeping the crowd. "I was mistaken for staff. Twice. Before I ever got to my room, I was told to use the back entrance. I was told I didn't belong. And that was just in the first day." Murmurs rippled. "I don't bring this up to shame anyone. I bring it up to shine a light on how far we still have to go. Because if I, a black woman with wealth and power, get treated like this, what happens to the housekeepers, the bellboys, the workers whose names no one here even bothers to learn?" Monique, standing in the back in her uniform, wiped a tear. Jordan continued. "Change starts not with policies or apologies, but with people. It starts with us." The applause came slowly at first. Then it swelled. Even some of the previously snickering guests were now standing. Jordan turned to the general manager. And as of this morning, I've finalized an agreement. My company now owns a majority stake in Bella Vista Lux. We will be reviewing all staff policies and retraining management, effective immediately. Gasps turned to awe. She wasn't just a guest anymore. She was the boss. The next morning, the staff gathered in the main conference room, whispers filling the air. No one knew exactly what was going to happen. Word had spread like wildfire that the resort had been sold, or at least bought into, by a wealthy black woman who had been mistaken for Maid just 48 hours earlier. Some were skeptical. Some were terrified. Others were quietly hopeful. When Jordan walked in, flanked by Camila and 2 attorneys from her firm, every pair of eyes turned toward her. She didn't wear a suit. She didn't need one. Her power was in her presence. Calm, confident, measured. "Good morning," she began. "My name is Jordan Ellis, and as of yesterday, I'm the new majority stakeholder in Bella Vista Lux." Gasps. A few jaws dropped. "I'm not here to fire everyone. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to build something better." She paused. "This resort is beautiful, but beauty without integrity is just decoration. And from what I've seen and experienced, you've been working in a place that has made too many of you feel small, disrespected, ignored. That ends now." The room was quiet until a young concierge assistant slowly began to clap. Then another, then more. Jordan raised her hand again. "We will be conducting anonymous staff interviews, pay equity audits, and we're implementing new racial bias and diversity training across all departments. But more importantly, we're putting real accountability in place. No more warnings without action. No more hiding bad behavior behind expensive suits or loyal customers." Then she turned directly to Monique, the older housekeeper who had thanked her the day before. "Monique, effective today, you're being promoted to staff liaison and head of employee advocacy. Your voice will be heard, always." Monique's mouth dropped. Her hand covered her heart. Tears welled in her eyes. The staff erupted in applause. It wasn't just a promotion. It was a message. Those who are overlooked will now lead. News traveled fast. Within 24 hours, several guests who had previously looked down their noses at Jordan began acting different. One guest who had once called her the Maid now sheepishly smiled at her poolside. Another left a complimentary gift basket outside her suite. There were apology notes, invitations to lunch, faux niceties. Jordan declined them all. She didn't want performative kindness. She wanted growth, truth, respect rooted in equality, not fear of her money or power. But not everyone accepted the change. Later that day, a white couple confronted the concierge angrily. "Why is she making these decisions? This resort used to be classy. Now it's like some political platform. We demand to speak to the owner." The concierge smiled. "You're speaking about Miss Jordan Ellis, ma'am. She is the owner." The husband fumed. "Well, we won't be staying here again." The manager who once mishandled Jordan's check-in, now under a new level of scrutiny, simply replied, "We wish you all the best." 3 days later, the resort hosted its first ever staff and guest celebration banquet, designed by Jordan herself. Unlike the formal gala, this event was relaxed, inclusive, and open to everyone. Staff were honored for their service. Housekeepers sat next to celebrities. Chefs and pool boys were toasted and applauded. Everyone dressed up, not in expensive gowns, but in joy and pride, in dignity. Jordan took the stage once more. "This isn't about me," she said, smiling. "It's about all the people who have ever been underestimated, ignored, laughed at, called to help. It's about proving that no matter how the world sees you, your value isn't measured by your clothes, your job title, or the color of your skin." Monique stood in the front row, wiping tears. "Because I wasn't mistaken for Maid," Jordan added. "They mistook my kindness for weakness, my simplicity for inferiority, and my skin for something that didn't belong." She paused and smiled softly. "But I belong wherever I choose to be." Jordan's story went viral within days. News outlets picked up her speech. Social media exploded with praise. Hashtags like #JordanEllis and #RespectTheBlackWoman trended for weeks. More importantly, her actions inspired other companies to revisit how they treated their staff, especially women of color. The tourism industry was forced to take a hard look at its biases. Back at Bella Vista Lux, under Jordan's new leadership, turnover rates dropped. Customer satisfaction soared. The staff began to smile, not out of obligation, but from pride. And every time a new guest walked through those lobby doors, no matter what they looked like, they were greeted not with judgment, but with respect. On her last day at the resort, Jordan walked the grounds alone. The sun was setting. Her sandals tapped softly on the stone paths. She passed the gardens, the pool, the beach. Each step reminded her of what had been and what now was. She passed Monique, who gave her a big, tearful hug. I never thought I'd see a day where someone like you, someone like us, own a place like this, she whispered. Jordan smiled. That's the thing, Monique. We were never supposed to wait for someone to make space for us. We were meant to take the space we deserve and build it better. As she climbed into her private car, she turned to Camila. Next stop, the next resort. I think it's time we raise some more standards. Camila laughed. You're really about to change the world, aren't you? Jordan smiled, eyes locked on the horizon. I'm not changing the world. I'm just making sure it looks more like us. The end. Like my video and subscribe my channel for more daily videos.